Welcome to Kick Him in the Head, a podcast that takes an inside look at the world of mixed martial arts, featuring interviews from some of the top fighters from South Africa and around the world, with a focus on the EFC and UFC promotions. I'm your host, Yao. Join us as we delve deep into the techniques, strategies, and mindsets of these world-class athletes, learning from their experiences and getting insights into what it takes to succeed in the toughest sport on earth. Welcome everyone to the Kick Him in the Head podcast. And as always, we have an absolutely jam-packed MMA episode. Today, we are doing the recap of EFC 114, which happened last week, Thursday, 6th of June. An absolutely fantastic fight night. Tonight with me, I have the same man I had last week when we were doing the predictions. Ola from the Fight Week Show. Ola, my brother, how are you doing tonight?
What's happening? Thank you for having me, man. Salute to everybody that's logging in right now. Make sure you're showing this brother some love. He's always putting in the work. And big up to you, man. Thank you for having me back on the show, brother. I appreciate it.
Amazing. And we are here to talk about EFC 114. Now, you and I were having chats during the event last week. I'm looking forward to getting into the card, seeing exactly, how it went. Because like you said, there were quite a few picks that went one way or the other. But the first thing we're going to talk about tonight is the battle of the ages for the featherweight title, the interim featherweight title between Terence the Black Panther Balelo and Liridon Rahmani out of Belgium. That fight was short, sweet. The Black Panther proved what he wanted to prove in a scintillating fashion. How did you see that fight?
Very, very interesting fight. When look from the weigh-ins, obviously we spoke about the weigh-ins on the Fight Week show when we did Dust Up Shakedown. And I said to you, boy, I hadn't seen the weigh-in yet, and you gave me the exclusive of what had happened between Rahmani and Triple B. I thought to myself, whoa, let's unpack this. This brother is come from Belgium, short notice, massive respect, jumping on the plane, pulling up, saving the card as you would because of the injury to Tumelo. Salute to Tumelo. Hope you healing up well. Speedy recovery to you. Big up yourself. So just looking at that incident with the headbutt, because he actually put in the headbutt towards Triple B, and it was so composed, so calm. A lot of people will let that sort of incident, get under their skin, and make them probably deviate from the game plan and everything they've been working on. But with the walking and both of them, walking into the cage, and Terence was so composed, so calm, so relaxed. He did his little dance, his little shimmy, got the crowd going. I mean, this brother is flown from Belgium, like I said earlier on, and all the pressures on Terence at this point. All the pressures is on him, right? Rahmani got nothing to gain, other than obviously if he wins, you get the title. But Terence had a lot to lose, if that makes sense, because he'd already given up the 135 interim title belt to qualify for this one, to be able to compete for this one. And the way that he handled himself in the hex was absolutely class. I did not expect him jumping the gilly the way he did, but the striking exchange was pretty good between both of them. I would say the striking exchange was pretty good, but there is a trap. I don't know, a lot of you, if you've seen Triple B fight, he sets this trap, brings you near the cage, but he's so elusive. You come in striking, you throw everything in there, and then you miss because it's out of the way before you even send the striking. So it was pretty slick with it, and soon as Rahmani gave him the opportunity to to catch the neck, he cinched in the guillotine, and yeah, it was tight. The standing guillotine at that, yeah, and We've seen two submissions now from Triple B, a rear naked choke, and now a guillotine. And he gave a nice tribute to Dustin Poirier as well, who's we just seen is retired off the last
Don't be
card.
silly, jump the gilly.
Don't be silly, jump the gilly. You know what I mean? Give a nice triple tribute to Dustin Poirier. So big shout out to Triple B. I phoned him on the morning. Me and him we had a video call on the morning of the fight. And I said to him, bro, I saw that weigh-in. Yao told me all about it. I saw that weigh-in and I said to him, whoa, you know what? Make sure that brother pays in full. And he says, I got you. I got you, bro. I said, make sure he pays in full, man, for doing that shit, man. You know what I mean? I know nobody's gonna do that to Triple B and get away with it on home soil. And Triple B didn't let us down. He came through, and yeah, he's next in line for that flyweight title. When Zulu comes back, hopefully, he heals up soon from his injury. Wishing him speedy recovery as well. And yeah, we can get to see that fight, and hopefully that fight happens before the year is out. One thing that Triple B did mention to us is how dark the last 7 months has been for him. You know, what I mean, just waiting on this opportunity. A lot of things happen back and forth to really make this challenge difficult for him. But he overcame it. He overcame all the odds, and big up to Triple B, man. Salute to Rosie. I see Rosie in the chat. Big up yourself, Rosie. I'm not backing Fury, just to let you know who are backing Triple G, man. You know what I mean? But big up yourself, Rosie. Salute to you. Big up.
Ola, you've dipped into the black hole, but
Yeah, we're here. We're here. We're
there
here,
we
bro.
go. You have
We're here, bro.
returned in a
Hey,
more
hold on. Hold on.
comfortable
Hold on.
setting, I would say.
Yeah, no, no.
Back in
Let's
the
go with
studio.
that one. Let's go with that one. Let's go with that one. Yeah, we like this one.
So, like you said, everything about that fight was fantastic. I think both fighters, like you said, definitely showed up. Big ups to both fighters for coming through. It was an absolutely fantastic uh, bout as a title bout. Balelo, like you said, proved himself on the ground. Like he said, I'm going to come in and show you that this boy from Swellendam is also good on the ground. I've got the grappling, I've got the wrestling, I've got the stand up. I'm the complete package. I'm about to be the next biggest star, not just in the EFC, not just in the EFC. Shout out EFC World Sport Betting, but I'm about to be the biggest star in the world. He came back to
Hold on,
feathers.
hold on, hold on. Don't just like show us that shirt again, man. Flex that shirt again. God damn.
Ah,
That's an EFC
EFC shout out.
upper right there, people. Yeah, man. Go on, brother. Go on. That looks nice, man. Big up yourself.
So it was good for him to showcase all those skills, and we look forward to seeing him going up against more international competition. And we have with us, by the way, a very special guest tonight. Wasn't announced, but tonight we have with us the one and only Shadrach Insua Blam B. Welcome to the Kick Him in the Head podcast. We are doing this recap show. How you doing tonight, bro?
No, I'm good, you guys. I'm sorry I'm late. So just had a bit of yeah, technical issues here, which I can't
Not
sort
a
out
problem.
still.
We are happy to hear you. I'm sure you know all our Fight Week show. We were in the middle of talking about Terrence versus Liridon Ramani, the fight, the title
Yeah.
fight, interim title fight. How did you
Yeah.
see that fight? How did you feel about that fight? How was the build up to that fight? What are your thoughts?
Uh, it, yeah, that fight, yeah, it was very surprising, a lot surprising because obviously last minute change, and he kept his calm. He went ahead with his game plan. He did not change anything. He knew what he went up against, and I feel like obviously they did our homework as well, understanding what type of fighter Romani is, because his wrestling was a lot better than the last time he fought Peace. I mean, no, sorry, no Gift. So his wrestling was improved. His defense towards Romani's attempted submissions were really good as well, and he broke really well. Especially every time he scrambled or get up, he broke really well. He kept it really nice and technical, and on the outside he preferred actually to stay on the outside, which Romani made it really easy for him because Romani was not pushing a lot more into his pocket, because if he pushed a bit more, he would have given Terence a bit of a problem. But Terence kept his distance really well, and like he does, he just bounces around and does his work. That's obviously
He does.
that's what entertaining about him, and the kid knows what he's doing. And like I say, I told his coach, I'm like, I mean, I think I told his conditioning coach, I'm like, nah, you guys gotta diamond here as well. So kid can talk, kid can fight. So I love his confidence. I love everything about him. Like he does it all. Like he does it all, and he impressed me a lot. Like that's not the first time he impressed me. Like every time I see him in that cage, he's improved. He's looked better. He made a mistake. He came back from it, and he looked better in his previous fight that he took. That was 10 days ago. I mean, 10 days of notice. And now
It was 10
coming out
hours.
10
10
hours.
hours. Yeah,
10 hours.
imagine now 10 hours. That was crazy, actually. Sorry. 10 hours. The kid flies and that's such a performance that he pulled through there as well. And then I knew he was going to do something special with the full campaign to this fight. So submitting a guy who supposedly should be a grappler, it's a very impressive thing to do. And because you're fighting a grappler, obviously he's much more dangerous in that area. I think he actually put him to sleep, if I'm not wrong. Because
Yeah.
I think
One more fun fact. That's the first time that fight has ever been finished.
because I think I saw the guy, because I think as the ref got involved, I saw his hands dropping, and I think it was either out or I'm not sure, but
Just
I think it
after
was
the
either
tap.
out. Yes, after the tap, he was out. So it was very impressive. Especially the way he controlled the submission, because I was sitting next to Cabeza and I was thinking, I'm like, because Cabeza understand wrestling a lot, so we were speaking a lot of terms when it comes to wrestling. So I was treating him. I was like, nah, should he go for a splayed or a cradle? So it's kind of a wrestling thing. And he was like, nah. He should keep it on then, like put on a submission. He's got a good control. And as he tapped and passed out of it, I was like, oh, you're right. It's not a good moment. Yeah, so it was quite a
That's
shock.
why
Yeah,
Eagle is Eagle. Big up
yeah,
the
man.
Eagle,
champ.
the
Yeah, man.
Eagle
Trust me, I learned a
Smiley
lot just
Cabeza,
sitting
the
next to that guy.
featherweight goat. That's right. That's right. And yeah, I saw you guys having a chit chat there the whole night. It was fantastic seeing you two together. Now,
Yeah,
we've talked about the main event. We've talked about Terrence versus Liridon, which obviously was a scintillating fight. But there was another fight on the night that was an absolute scorcher. The
yeah.
co-main event
Oh,
between
yeah.
Simbarasha Hokonya and
Yeah,
Ayanda Zwane. Like,
yeah.
I'm at a loss for words because that fight was everything that was built up to be. And I think the featherweight Grand Prix that's been put in by the EFC has yielded some form of results. It's given the fighters the right level of experience within the right amount
Yeah,
of time against good opposition, good opponents, for them to be able to say, I'm ready to stand in front of the man we just talked about, Igor Smiley Cabeza. This fight went the distance. It went to decision. It went to the judges. I absolutely loved the fight. I had a chat with Yana after who said, listen, I thought it was not going to go that way, but it did. I had a chat with Simba. He said, listen, and he was on crutches. He was like, look, I told you this is
yeah.
what was going to happen. How did you guys see the fight? Ola, let's start with you.
Before I go ahead, I just want to wish Big Shad happy birthday again. I know it was your birthday week.
Thank you, thank
You
you.
know, what I mean, you was living it up at the arena. We saw your interview on TV. So yeah,
Yeah,
man, big up yourself, man. Big up yourself. Um,
appreciate it, man.
yeah, man. Salute to you. Hope you had a good time.
That
Happy
was
birthday.
fun. Thank you,
Yeah, man.
thank you.
In terms of the fight, with Ayanda. You know, I was very very high on Ayanda going into this fight. We know what had happened in the first fight, and the Hawk, you know, really putting the work on Ayanda and getting the win. Um, but Ayanda showed a lot of heart in that fight. I've said this to him, you know, to his face. I thought he showed a lot of heart in that fight, and we've seen the improvement fight upon fight,
Mm.
4 fights later, and Ayanda's there and is picking up some really special wins. So going back to this fight, I think it came at the right time for him, Ayanda. You know, it came at the right time for him. Came at the right time for the Hawk. And as you said, you know, facing somebody like Igu Cabeza, you got to be on your P's and Q's when you get in the cage with that brother. You got to be on your
Especially when you
P's.
go to ground, which is where
you
this fight
got
went. But keep
you
going.
got to be on your P's and Q's. And you know, Ayanda came short in this fight. Um, I thought the Hawk did a lot of things right, but it's almost like we said this on the prediction show that we did last week, that sometimes, you know, when you've been in the cage with somebody before, you feel their energy, you can feel their breathing, you can feel the right amount of strength that they've got, their strength level. There's something that it's almost like you have that muscle memory on how to really deal with them in a situation like that. And you know, we've seen it with top level fighters with rematches, and it always kind of goes the same way. We saw it with say Usman and Masvidal both times. We saw it with Rose Namajunas with Carla Esparza. You know, even though Esparza went to lose straight away, but the way Esparza dealt with Rose is it's almost. I know what you feel like. I can be in there with you, and I know I can get the win. So it was almost like that mental. It was more of a winning of a mental warfare for Hawk in my humble opinion, because I don't get in there with you guys, right? But from what I can see, it's almost like Hawk had the mental advantage, you know what I mean, over Ayanda in that fight,
Yeah.
and he totally put on display for everybody to see. And yeah, commiserations to Ayanda. I'm sure he's gonna go back to the drawing board and come back even better. But this was a really, really good win for the Hawk.
So before I come to you, Blamby, one thing that the Hawk said in the press conference beforehand was, show me what you can do. Stop talking. Show me what you can do in the cage, which Ayanda unfortunately did not. How did you take that fight? How did you see that fight? Blamby.
For me, uh, look, when I was sitting outside there, first of all, I told Grandma, I was like, like the whole event was crazy. It's crazy. It's just insane good. From the last events, obviously, all the knockouts and stuff. This event was as good, if not for me better, because I saw a lot of a lot of heart. People walked in there actually wanting to fight. I didn't see nobody didn't want to get in the cage. Everybody that went in the cage wanted to fight, and they wanted to show something special. So for me as well, this fight, because why I say that, when you're a fighter that's willing to grow and growing every fight, you want to be put in the cage with somebody who's gonna put you in that state where it brings a bit of a greatness in you, a bit of something special that you have to kind of ignite it by actually standing across somebody who's going to push you in a most vulnerable position. So I feel Simba, he was really pushed in this fight, and his mind, everything, it was in a really good state. And even though sometimes he would kind of break the link between um, the reality, where he kind of sank in his own emotion, but he brought himself back as well to control everything and to try to calm everything down. So that's why for me he did really good in that fight. Even though I think when they walked out in the second round, they did mention of something about his leg, and the movement you could see the movement was a bit different as well. So for me, that's mindset, because you hurt, but you can still put up a show. And Zwane as well, obviously, he came to fight. He's a fighter. He's got the heart. He walked in there, came to fight. Um, for me, I just felt like he put up a really good game plan, but adjustment needed to be made in that fight. You understand? So in some things where you follow game plan, yes, but then if a game plan is kind of going a bit not the way it should, make adjustment, but don't change the game plan. So he needed to do a bit more on that, because I feel like he's got more height on Simba. For me, I would say if he would have found a way to control a bit more on the outside and work on his range, he would have done a bit more damage there. But he got caught up in what Simba was trying to play. a bit more of aggressive game, a dog fight, which you follow that, and Simba's really good at that. So uh, that was for that fight. It was like give or take. Yeah, you give, I take, I give, you take. So it was like both sides. Like I didn't. I was sitting there. I didn't even have a favorite. I'm like, what, I'm just chilling, just enjoy the fight. Nah, I'm gonna enjoy the fight. Guys are dragging each other on a foot, across the car. I'm like, damn, that was a hell of a fight, man.
Yeah, no, that was a great fight. Now, obviously, we've talked about these two guys who are rising stars, who are about to go and fight. Well, Simba won, who's now going to go and fight for the featherweight title. But on the night, we had a lot of different fights. We're now
Yeah,
looking specifically at the rising stars. Now, this is the full recap of all the winners and losers on the fight night. Of all the fights that happened on this night, which fighter here for you is a rising star? Which fighter? It could be Terence Balelo, it could be God knows in global, but which fighter here do you see as a rising star that would be going forward in a positive way in the EFC, basically taking whatever opportunity they have, like Terence has taken, and more opportunities will come to him for sure. But who do you see here as your rising star from EFC 114?
um, for me, I'll definitely go with Terrence. He's got everything, but he's growing still, and I can see he's growing. I can definitely see his growth. Why? Because as a fighter from his first fight until I think it's his sixth or seventh fight now. Um, I can definitely see how he makes his improvement, how he adjusts in a fight, and how patient he is to actually chip away everything for him to actually find that spot where he can be like, okay, we're done now. And for a kid that's still new in the game, he's got a really good IQ in a game, and that makes him special. He knows he's not the strongest. He knows he's not the biggest, and he uses the speed quite really well. And believe me, as I say, or trust me, if I would say, if you can fight, you deserve to do the talk. And a
Mm.
lot of people, I've heard a lot of people talk, and they're like, nah, he's a bit cocky. I'm like, nah, 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 nah. Respect the kid. He's confident. And I love that about him.
Mm.
And confident that he has, he puts in the work and he shows up in a cage. And you got to respect that. You got to respect that. For me, that's a rising star right there.
Nah, fantastic. I completely agree. He is definitely a rising star. If you look at how he went to the microphone, hopping the fence, going to speak to the audience,
Hmm.
to us, everyone sitting at home who's listening, and to Simon Stevens saying, I am the best in the world. That
Yeah.
says I am a rising star and I'm going all the way to the top.
Yeah.
Ola, for you, who's the rising star on this fight night?
Um, you know what? I, I, I I definitely agree with you, Blammy.
Yeah.
For me, Terrence is a superstar in the making. Is it's a matter of when, not a if.
Yeah.
That when this guy gets to the pinnacle, and is you know everybody's gonna start learning what we already know about this kid. But there's one other fighter on the card, made a debut. Very very impressed by the way he performed. Christian Omokumbio, with a rear naked choke against
Hmm.
Francis Kundari. So for me,
Yeah, that was
I, I,
impressive. Oh, yeah.
I thought that was a really really good really really good fight for him, and a decent way to announce himself to the
Hmm.
EFC
Hmm.
audience and
Hmm.
and everybody around the world, because I've now seen him. I live in the UK, and now I know
Yeah.
about him. So
Yeah.
he made a very very good showing, and yeah, big shout out to him. The other guy that I would say really really impressed me on the night, and salute to
Mm.
Peace Excommunicado.
Of
Salute to you,
course.
Peace, man. Yeah, man. For him coming back the way he did, after the disappointment in his last fight, to come and win in the fashion that he did, I thought was really really special. And I know it's somebody that both of you guys know very very well. Very very disciplined person, humble, very very soft spoken, but when he gets in the cage, it's all business, as you could see with him in that fight. And Willie Van Rooyen as well, I thought was fantastic on the night. So yeah, I've mentioned three. I thought those three guys, apart from Terrence, really stood out to me. Shout out to those guys.
I think I look for me, like you said, we can't speak about Rising Stars without speaking about Terrence, the Black Panther, big balls Balelo. He's definitely right now one of the biggest stars in the EFC. He's definitely looking to see how he can carry the promotion on his back where it comes to a superstar. We don't have many left. We've got Iga. Quite a few of the champions end up leaving, but he's looking like he's looking to make massive waves before he leaves. So definitely, absolutely a massive rising star in the EFC. For me, the other two that I have, definitely I have to point out Billy the White Lion Van Rooyen. My goodness,
Yeah,
I saw this kid fight in his first fight, and the amount of skill and heart that he showed,
he's
for me,
brilliant.
it said this kid is going somewhere. And seeing his performance against Vuyo Jula, Vuyo is a stronger, slightly more rangy fighter, but Billy took him in all quarters. He took him standing, he took him on the ground, grappling. Billy was a fully rounded fighter in that fight, and he is so impressive, and I can't wait to see him do the dance. He is a featherweight fighter. The featherweight division right now is stacked, so let's see where he goes. But very excited about him. And then the other one is Belishta Mugo. Now we don't have
Woo!
very many female fighters in the EFC, unfortunately. Belishta quit her job. She's been working solely on her MMA career for the past year.
I
If
respect
that
that.
doesn't say rising star, I don't know what does. So for me, I have to shout out to Felista. She's taken the time out to say, I want to be a professional MMA fighter on the African scene, then obviously take my trade internationally if I can, but I'm committed to MMA. So for me, I definitely have to shout out to her as one of the rising stars of EFC 114. And just a quick correction. I'm sorry, Son of Egypt. I know you did beat Lecture Gumbi. The Mafia did not win your fight. Sorry, we got that one wrong. So at the bottom, Moses Mukari, the son of Egypt, actually won by decision against Lecture, the Mafia, Gumbi. So just that's not correct down there. But yeah, those are the three rising stars that I want to point out: Terence Balelo, Billy Van Rooyen, and Felista Mugo. With all of that said, with all of that said, favorite fighters and everything. For you, what was the fight of the night? Lambi, let's start with you.
Um, phew. Oh, that night showed me a couple of fights actually. Yo, because
It's a
for
tough
me,
one, that one.
pieces fights the adjustment that he made in the fight, because he played really well in stand up, because he fought against a bigger guy than him. Yeah, I mean, he showed a lot from his last fight, and when he took him on the ground, he just did a lot for me, and that fight showed me quite a lot as well. But Terence Butler's fight was really good, really good. The way he controlled the fight, the way he kept on the fight, the way he just, the crowd, the fight, everything about the fight, the tempo, until he finished the fight. And then, like you say, Billy, when he came out, I think it was, I'm not sure who was sitting next to me, but it wasn't Cabeza that told me. I'm not sure if it was him or somebody else. Somebody told me, he's like, watch this kid. This kid is special. So I was like, oh yeah, I watched. Like, the kid walked in the cage, and what he did in the cage, it was a lot as well. Like it's a very impressive things. And the one that topped it up for me would definitely be Zwane and Simba, because yeah, that fight, like I said, it was, no one wanted to give anything to anybody. They were both like, I want to take everything. And to me, that fight showed, heart, because Cabeza was sitting next to me, and he said he obviously want to stand across the ring where somebody who's willing to fight. And both of those guys were willing to fight. So that was very, very impressive. And you could see the smile in his face. He's like very happy because he knows he's going to get a good fight. And he's like, okay, I'm keen. So yeah, they impressed the guy who was sitting right next to me, and they impressed literally the whole arena. And for me, it was the co-main event, fight of the night for me.
Definitely. That co-main event is actually the fight of the night, EFC fight of the night. So yeah,
Yeah.
that definitely was a fight, especially because it went the full distance. You got to see every aspect of each fighter's capability, what they're capable of, whether they can take a shot or not, how good they are at the ground, defense, stand up, all of that. So I think definitely it was a full showcase of what MMA is in the African context in the EFC. Ola, for you, fight of the night?
Yeah, I can't look no further than Hawk and Ayanda Zwane. I think both of them, like you said, showcased the skill set. Especially for me, it wasn't just the fight in itself; it's what's at stake, and the person that you're going to see is cage side. That's different pressure. Like I said, I'm not a fighter, but having Eagle Smiley Cabeza sat cage side, and that's your next opponent, that's a different kind of pressure. So for those two to bring it the way they did, they entertained the crowd, like you said. They really they took the fight to each other. And I thought they gave a really good showing on the night. So it's what was at stake, and the belt that belongs to Eagle Cabeza is what everybody wants, and they want to take it from him, at least before he leaves the EFC. No, these guys don't really want to, compete for vacant favor. They want to be the one that dethrones him. You know what I mean? Because that's extra resume on your resume.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If you're the one that takes out
I'm just gonna get my charger quick. My phone is getting. I'm just gonna get my charger quick.
All right. If you're the one that that dethrones Eagle Cabeza, it carries more weight. It's clout on top of clout. It's CV on top of CV. So yeah, a lot of the guys I'm sure would like to fight for a featherweight if it became vacant. Yes, they're going to take it with both hands. But really and truly, if you want to fight against the best and you want to be measured against your peers, there's no better person to try and measure yourself on and see how good you really are. And that was what was at stake for these two guys, and they brought it. So you can't look no further than Ayanda Zwane and the Hawk.
You make so many amazing points with regards to exactly even why the EFC themselves chose this as the fight of the night. And like I said, when Bambi was mentioning this as his fight of the night, definitely they both brought it. For me, I'm going to switch just a little bit away from them simply because you guys both hit it. So, I mean, I'm just going to say the same thing again. So let's do something different. But I must say, once again, Billy Van Rooyen, Vuyo Jula. Vuyo Jula, a former MFC champion. Billy Van Rooyen has been through an intense, very extensive amateur career. He's come through the professional scene. He's now 4-0. And like I said, he's one of my rising stars. And the dominance he showed over Vuyo Jula, who you could see could or should have been the stronger fighter. For me, that just gave me this belief in him and his skills. If I look at his record, if I look at who he's fought, Tabata Molele, Mpumilele Ngoma, Dave Makane, so he's been working himself up from EFC 107, 110, 112. He's fighting regularly. So for me, looking at all of that and how he performed, the smile he has on his face after a fight, the energy, and just seeing the performance, definitely fight of the night, Vuyo Jula, because Vuyo also tried. Vuyo was doing his best, but you could see that Billy was just better than him. And for me, fight of the night, definitely Vuyo Jula versus Billy Van Rooyen. Now, we've talked about EFC 114. There were quite a few things that came out from EFC 114. Talking specifically press conference in this instance, quite a few words came out of the press conference at the end of EFC 114. The 2 or 3 I want to point out. The first one I want to point out is Iga Cabeza, who has to defend his title against 2 different people, 2 different men, 2 different weight classes. They both engaged him because he was at the press conference. The interaction I want to point out is between him and Humphrey King Cobra Mulenga. I've never, that was the first time I had ever seen such intensity coming off a person just sitting down at a press conference. Humphrey Mulenga is so focused, laser focused, intensely focused on Iga Cabeza. He is intensely focused on that lightweight title. He wants it. He doesn't just want it. He believes It is his God-given right, if I should say, to have this title.
Mm.
How do you guys feel about this fight coming? We have Iga the GOAT, Smiley the GOAT, and I call him the GOAT all the time because he really is. When you see his swag, when you see how he walks with his titles, he's now a double champion. He's the most decorated fighter on the in the MMA circuit in Africa, going up against what I would call the scariest fighter, definitely at lightweight, and between him and Shadrach, the
The
scariest
charity
fighter,
work he does
and the charity
outside
work that he does,
that is
everything.
fantastic.
He's an
Everything.
exemplary fighter, Smiley. But Mulenga has come from nothing. He has come from the trenches of Zambia, coming up through the ranks to come and fight here in the EFC. An absolutely massive fight. How do you guys feel about that fight? Specifically that one first, then we'll talk about the other one. How do you feel about it, Ola?
Mulenga is a scary dude, bro. He's a intimidating brother. His energy when it's anything to do with combat, we've seen him fight. We've seen him in the cage. We saw the last face-off when he won, and Eagle stepped into the cage. You know, he could have. I think he had enough energy to go for the title fight if they had put it on the same fight that same night. And he's very, very skilled. He knows what he's doing. I've seen him, putting in work with Temba Gorimbo. Shout out to Temba Gorimbo. Big up yourself. Um, I've seen him doing work with him, and like you said, he's hungry for this title. And I mentioned it earlier on. These guys want to be the one that dethrones Ego. They don't just. It's not just about the title to them. It's who they're taking it from. That carries a lot of weight. That carries a lot of clout. It carries it's everything for whoever is standing in front of him. So I think Humphrey, like you said, engaging him at the press conference in that way, he's very, very focused on this fight. He knows what he wants. He's a fantastic fighter. I think both of them are good. When this fight gets booked and it gets announced, I'm losing my shit. This fight is
It is
very,
booked.
very.
It is booked.
Oh, do we have a
It's
date?
booked.
We
Yeah,
have a
yeah,
date.
the next EFC, 114, 115, sorry. It was supposed to
115.
happen at 114, but Smiley was injured. Sorry, Smiley got sick. So at the press conference, Humphrey was like, listen, don't get sick next time. I'm ready. Oh, it was so
I'm
exciting.
losing my shit. I'm losing my shit already. Let's lose my shit right now. Let's do it right now. I'm
But
losing my shit.
whilst you're losing your
know what I
shit, whilst you're losing your shit, bigger than that, not, it's not bigger, but equally as big as that, is the fact that not Humphrey, Eagle has to also defend against Simba, as we spoke about this entire episode.
Mm.
Which fight do you think is more exciting? Because I asked the question to Smiley, which one are you more excited to fight? Who are you more excited to fight between Simba and Humphrey? And he
No,
said, look,
no,
bring it.
yeah, go on. You was gonna say what he said.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So which one are you excited to
Oh,
see?
which one?
Because we've spoken
All right,
about both
okay,
of them.
right. For me, no disrespect to the Hawk, and I'm absolutely sure he's gonna put in, a fantastic effort to try and dethrone Eagle. But we've seen Eagle in the featherweight, like dominated it for a long, long time. At lightweight, we've not seen. We've only got a small sample size of what he can really do at lightweight. This one is more. Please.
So, without breaching YouTube policy, I'm gonna quote Iga because that exact same thing was said at the press conference, and
Oh, was it?
his response was, "Nigga, I have 19 fights at lightweight." It's literally what he said, and I'm
Oh
quoting.
shit! Oh shit!
I am quoting.
Sorry, Eagle. Sorry. Well, pardon my knowledge on that one, man. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Look, I didn't know either. A lot of
I
us
didn't know
didn't know
this.
because it wasn't in the EFC, right?
Yeah.
It's outside probably the EFC, but he has had 19 fights at lightweight.
All right. Okay. I had no idea about this. And obviously, when I'm bringing this up, Obviously, I'm talking in terms of professional fights. But if he said he has, then he has. You know what I mean? Big up Ayanda right there, man. Salute to you, Ayanda. Big up yourself. Commiserations that you came short in your fight against the Hawk. I'm sure you'll be back, brother. I'm sure you'll be back. So talking about Igu now, for me, like I said, I've only got a small sample size, what I've seen of him in the lightweight division. So this one here is definitely gonna be fireworks. And even though he's had 19 fights in lightweight division, I'm not sure if any of them is as crazy, scary, intimidating as Humphrey Mulenga is. So, it's yet to be seen. But I'm very, very intrigued. I'm losing my shit.
Oh, yes. Honestly, that fight, and it is going to be at 115. It is, well, they haven't yet announced it per se, but it is apparently signed, agreed. 115, lightweight title, Humphrey Mulenga versus Iga the GOAT, Smiley Cabeza. So definitely looking forward to that one. Ola, thank you so much for this absolutely amazing recap show. We had Blamby on earlier. Unfortunately, he had to drop off, but wow. EFC 114. I mean, 115 is just going to be absolutely amazing. We're looking forward to Terrence coming to unify the belt against King Shaka, because we haven't seen King Shaka, obviously, since winning it. He's gone for surgery. King Shaka, wish you Godspeed. I hope to see you back in the Hex real soon. Terrence, we hope to see you in the Hex against King Shaka very soon, because that's going to be a crazy fight. And we are also looking forward to the return of Iga Cabeza against Simbarasha Hokonya in the featherweight, for the featherweight title, for the featherweight strap. Ola, where can people find you on the socials? Fight Week Show, tell us where you are.
Yeah, as you can see in the background right there, on the screen right there, Ola, the Fight Week Show. Make sure you're checking us out on YouTube. Go subscribe if you haven't yet. Follow us on Instagram, TFWS Official. That's our Instagram handle. And you can check us out on Twitter as well. We're on all platforms, Twitch, Spotify. Go and check us out on there. We're gonna have Dust Up Shakedown tomorrow, where we're gonna talk about MMA news and what's been circulating out there, and talk about current events and stuff like that. So yeah, we cover many topics, including topics about the EFC as well on the show. A special guest tomorrow, Terrence the Black Panther, Triple B, Big Balls Balelo is going to be with us on Dust Up Shakedown tomorrow. So make sure you come and join us on there. Salute to you all.
So one thing that will be seen and is coming out soon is that I did the gut check challenge. But
what
I didn't know,
because you some shit like that.
What do you mean? I almost want to say it was your fault, bro. We were on your show, Dust Up Shakedown, with Terrence Balelo last time, and he said to me, I want you. And I can't say no. I'm not going to say no. So I said, okay, let's go. But he threw in a curveball. He was there with the troublemaker, Faiz Jacobs. And now I got a double gut shot. One from the troublemaker and then one from the Black Panther. That'll be on the socials real soon. Yeah, it went how it went.
You're alive to tell the tales, yeah? You're alive to tell the tales.
But shout out to everyone listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe at HeadKickPod on all our platforms. You know where to find us every week. Dust Up Shakedown tomorrow with the Fight Week Show, Rambling Dad podcast. Going to be awesome. We're going to be doing a little bit of recap on EFC 113, 114, obviously with the Black Panther, who will be on there. But until next time, Ola, you know how we got to end this show, right?
Kick him in the head! I'm losing my shit in the head! That's right.
We're out.
Still losing my...
Welcome to Kick Him in the Head, a podcast that takes an inside look at the world of mixed martial arts, featuring interviews from some of the top fighters from South Africa and around the world, with a focus on the EFC and UFC promotions. I'm your host, Yao. Join us as we delve deep into the techniques, strategies,